Hi artists, welcome to Meet the Masters. This month we are going to be doing our project online via YouTube. So let's get started. Let me show you our example. Okay, here is an example of something that we're going to do. So we are going to make our own Saturday evening post, just like Norman Rockwell. At the top we've got our title. There's the date. You're going to choose which date you want to add, the price of your magazine. We're going to make a holiday or seasonal illustration. And then at the bottom, you'll give yourself credit for your illustration. All right. And then these are kind of fun because they open just like a magazine. Maybe you could add your own text and stories inside of the magazine. Okay. So let's put our example to the side. And go ahead and pick up your artist profile slip and a pencil. And I want you to write your name on your artist profile slip. I'll write my name. Go ahead and write your name. And then I want you to pick up your large, colorful paper. Mine is red. There's a variety of colors, so you might have red or you might have a different color. Okay, so notice the orientation of my paper. I've got it going landscape direction, so it's going side to side. It's not up and down portrait direction. So make sure yours is going side to side and matching mine. And then all we're going to do is fold it in half. So we're going to take the left side, the left edge of our paper, and fold it over until it meets the right edge and the corners at the bottom and the top line up. Okay, so fold it in half and then crease it on the left side. All right, so then we have our magazine that opens. It opens on the right side, closed on the left side. All right, go ahead and turn your magazine over, and let's take our artist profile slip again and turn this over. Grab your glue stick and just make a nice long rectangle. Follow the perimeter of your artist slip. Glue it on. Easy peasy for you guys. Okay, and just wipe it a few times until it starts to stick. Go ahead, put the cap back on your glue. Turn it over. We've got our magazine, but we have nothing on it, so we need to prep all of the elements before we put it together. Okay, so let's put our magazine to the side, and we're going to begin by working on our lettering. So I want you to get your paper from the learning packet. At the top it says the Saturday Evening Post, so there's an example. This is reminiscent of the font that was used often for the Saturday Evening Post. And then below it there's two rectangles, and these are so that we can practice our lettering twice. Then below that it says illustrated by, and we're going to add our name there. And then at the very bottom there's this blank strip just above save this page for your art activity. And this is where we're going to add our date and our price later on. But first let's start at the top with our lettering. So notice at the top where it says the Saturday Evening Post, each of these letters falls inside of dashed grids. Okay, that's going to help us to ensure that our letters space correctly and that we have them the right size and the right width. It's going to keep us in line. Okay, now you'll notice that the font on this and the lettering is a little bit fancy, and we're going to get to be creative and add our own details to our letters, but the first time we go through it, we're only going to write our letters with a pencil. And it's going to stay pretty basic. So go ahead and drop down to this second rectangle. Okay, notice we have these dashed boxes. All right, so here's 1, 2, 3. That's going to be the 3 letters in the, right? So there's going to be T, H, E. Then there's a small break. This is where Saturday is going to fit. So the S will go in that first square, A, T, U, and so on. All right, so we're going to try to follow. Now notice that the lines, the vertical lines that are dashed, they are at a slight slant. So they're not going straight up and down, they're slanted just a touch. So is the lettering at the top. So we are going to, when we first write in our letters, we're going to slant them just slightly, okay, to kind of match that idea. So we're going to go ahead and start with the T-H-E, and our first box is here. So I'm just going to follow. My T touches the top and the bottom. So I'm going to write the top there, and I'm just going to slightly slant my vertical line for my T coming down. Okay, then I'll go to my H, and I'm just going to slightly slant those vertical lines, cross in the middle. My E, I'm going to slant that line. Okay, so we have the Saturday is the next word, and the S takes up most of that square, and it's a little bit slanted. Slanting the S might be a little trickier. Now when you get to the A, you'll notice that this A is rounded at the top. So if you want, for right now, you can round the top of your A, so you just come in with a nice long arc and then straight line coming down. Okay, my T. The U is just going to be a really basic U. R. Don't worry about any of the lettering details for right now unless it's going to affect it later. When you get to your Y, notice that this Y is just a little bit different than the way you might usually write your I's. So it's like a V at the top, and once it gets to the middle, then the line drops down. So I'm going to make a V to the middle and then drop my line to the bottom. Okay, then come down. So we've got the Saturday, and then on this second line is where evening and post are going to fit. So go ahead, if you need to pause, you can do that while you add your lettering. Okay, so once you have this first one done, I want you to drop down and do it again one more time on the second frame. Okay, so you're going to practice one more time. This will give you options for when we put this all together. You can decide which one you like best. Oh, whoops, I started writing the evening. My bad. Well, we're just going to make that work. I'm just going to erase that really quickly. I got ahead of myself. And that's what erasers are for. Okay, that's better. Okay, if you are still working on penciling in your letters, go ahead and pause the video and then come back when everyone is ready to add the details and go over it with marker. Okay, so we're going to put our pencils down and we're going to decide which one we like better. Now this one, I started to mess up and I have some eraser, some pencil lines that I erased. So I'm going to pick my first one. And the first time we go over it with marker, we're not going to worry about any of the details yet. All we're going to do is worry about darkening it in. So just take the pointy end of your marker, so it's just narrow. And you're just going right on top of your pencil lines. Okay, so we're just following over. Nothing fancy right now. Okay, so you only need to go over your pencil lines on one of these, so just pick one. If you need more time, go ahead, pause the video right here. Okay, and when you're ready, let's go ahead and add some fun details with the broader side of our marker. So I used a really skinny one to make it easier for you guys to see how fine you want to do it at first. Then I'm going to go ahead and come in with my fatter marker. Now you can just use the fatter side of your marker. So you were using the very tip of it like you're writing with a pencil, and now you can kind of slant your marker so that you're using the side of it and you're getting a thicker line when you go down your letters. Okay, so here, if you want to mimic the style of font at the top, you can. But if you've got your own ideas and you've done some lettering before that you really like, go ahead and use any type of font that you want to use on your Saturday evening post. That will make it even more fun just to see different creative fonts and lettering. But I'll just go ahead and work with the example they have. So if you're interested in that, you can kind of follow along with me a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring the fatter end of my marker down. Actually, I'm going to use my skinny one to show you. That'll be easier at first. Now, at the bottom of your T, there is a horizontal line. So let's add that. Okay, and think about when we're adding these horizontal lines at the bottom of the letters, I want you to think about, once we've added it, think about a triangle connecting. See how that might be hard to see, but I kind of made a triangle to connect my vertical line to my horizontal, and then you can fill it in. Okay, maybe you want this to go out, and you can curve your triangle a little bit. Then at the top, this T is really interesting. So it looks like it comes down and swirls around on the left side. So you can take your marker and swirl it, go back over it and thicken it up a little bit. Okay, now the same thing happens with the H. It has these horizontal lines at the very ends of our vertical lines, okay? So if you want to stop there, that looks pretty cute. You could do it like that. But if you want to get that even stronger line, think about that triangle. So you can connect a triangle from those horizontal lines to your vertical lines. See those 4 triangles that I made? And then you can go back and fill them in. Okay, you could leave it like that, or you can thicken it up, go over it with your marker. Thicken the middle one. Okay, and then when you get to your E, notice how at the top, the horizontal lines kept going past our vertical line. So we're just going to add us a little extra at the top and the bottom. And then we're just going to draw a line to come into the vertical line and fill it in. So it makes another triangle. There's a lot of triangles in this type of font. We'll do another one, draw a line. There's another triangle, fill it in. And then at the ends of these E's, it slants out at the top, out at the bottom, and it just connects back in. Okay, so you can go through there and thicken it, and then middle line, you can add that little line if you want. Okay, when you get to the S, it looks like they've got kind of a line coming off the top at a slant and a line coming off the bottom at a slant. You can add those and then go back and thicken the lines to blend it with those lines you just made. Okay, when you get to your A, there's a little bit of a curly down here, and then everything else is just a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to add my curly here and then wind it up, and then I'll just go back through and thicken things. Oh, at the bottom of this line you've got that horizontal line, so you can add that. Okay, we've got that curly T again, so make a circle, curl it in. Thicken this, and then add my horizontal line and my triangle to connect, fill in my triangle. Okay, when you get to the U, you can make those horizontal lines at the tops of your U's and then connect with those make those triangles again. See those triangles? And then fill them in. I'm excited to see all of the different fonts that you guys come up with. You want to create your own. I love that idea. Makes it so much more fun when you guys add your own flavor to these projects, because you guys have a lot of great ideas. My hand is getting a little bit tired. This is the third tutorial I've been doing, so if your hand starts cramping up, take a break. Shake out your hand a little bit. Whew. Okay, so I'm done with my top line. If you're still working on your top line, that's okay. Or maybe I'm going super slow and you guys are already through it. That's okay, you can fast forward too. More hand cramps. Shake them out. The eyes are really easy to do because all you have to do is add a triangle at the top and the bottom and then fill them in. The O's are pretty easy too if you're doing this type of font. You just want to thicken the sides. Yay, I'm on my last letter. My hand is tired. Okay, it's not perfect, but it looks pretty good. So once you are finished with your lettering, then we'll move on to the next step. If you're still working right now, go ahead, pause it. All right. Okay, so we've got the title for our magazine. Let's come down while we've got our marker out and finish up this paper. So the next part is illustrated by, that's you. So I want you to write your name. You can print it, you can use cursive, you can use any of your lettering that you used above or something new. I'll just use cursive. That's what I usually write in. Okay, illustrated by Mrs. Stuckey. Pause it if you need to. Okay, now the last thing on this paper that we're going to add is the date and the cost. So the date is going to go all the way on the left side. There's two skinny dashed sets of lines through here. We want this second one that's a little bit wider. So go ahead to this one right above, save this page for your art activity, and pick a date. It could be today's date, it could be a date in history. I'm gonna say it's October 13th, Friday the 13th, 1953. Sounds spooky. And then on the right side over here, you're gonna decide how much your magazine is selling for. And I'll say it's 75 cents. Okay. All right. So go ahead, do that, pause it. When you're ready, come back. All right. So now that we have all of these elements ready to go, we're going to cut them out. So pick which one you used, and we're going to cut out the title. So you'll just follow the dashed lines around your Saturday Evening Post up here. Mine's a little bit slanted because this image was sent to me, so a little slant. I'm going to make it work though. But if mine looks a little bit off, that's why. Okay. Trim this up. Get a little more straight. Okay, so we've got our Saturday Evening Post. We can go ahead and put this scrap to the side. And then down here we want to cut out the illustrated by. So go ahead and follow those dashed lines. And cut that out. Okay, so we've got illustrated by. This second exercise we can put to the side to toss later. And then the last thing we need to cut out is the date and the price. So this is going to be a long strip. Even though we've written on the far sides of the paper, the whole strip is going to be glued down. So we're going to cut all across this line and all across this line. So it'll be a long rectangle when you're done. Just keep them attached. Okay, so save this page. These two scraps can go this side. Mine's a little bit different, so I'm gonna have to do a quick trim on mine. Okay. All right. So we've got these elements. Now, let me grab our example. The cover, we're going to use a little bit of black backing to make it look that much nicer. Okay, so let's see what we've got over here. We've got a large black paper. We're going to use that in just a second for our illustration, so put that to the side. And then we've got these two smaller rectangles. One's medium and one's small. So the medium-sized one is going to go behind our Saturday evening post. Notice how I placed that on and I centered it so there's black all around the Saturday evening post. This one with our date and price are not going to have the backing. So the last one is going to be for the illustrated by. Okay, so place those there. Go ahead, get that Elmer's glue stick again, and we're just going to glue down the title and the illustrated by onto the black paper. So just the black backing. Okay. And I'm kind of on top of a white piece of paper. That's just to protect my desk because I've got permanent markers, so I didn't want to have too many marks. Okay, so we've got this glued on to the black backing. Now we're going to do the illustrated by. Turn that over. A couple of lines of glue is all you need. Center it as best you can so there's a little black on all sides showing. Ooh, it's going to look so professional. Okay, great. So we've got all of these pieces that will be ready for our magazine. Now, we're only missing our illustration. So let's go ahead and put these elements over here. I'm going to put them on top of my colorful paper for later. And let's go back and let's take a look at our example. So in this example, because it's October, I did kind of a full moon and a couple of bats and a dark sky around it. We're going to use oil pastel, so it's really fun. You can do different colors on top of each other, and it makes it look really great. And the black can go on top of any other colors. We are going to add any holiday or seasonal symbol. So if you celebrate holidays, you could do something for Halloween. You could do a pumpkin, bats, witches, skeletons, anything like that. You could also do something for fall. So you could do a big fall leaf that's orange. If you want to do a different holiday, you can do that too. So you can do a piece of pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. You could do a menorah or a dreidel for Hanukkah. You could do a Christmas tree if you celebrate Christmas, or you don't have to do any holidays. So if you want to keep it seasonal, you could do maybe a snowman for winter or a snow globe, or if you want to do something for summertime, you could do that too. So just something that's either seasonal or holiday related, okay? And this is fun because you get to pick anything that you want. All right, so I'm going to put my example to the side for just a minute, and I'm going to take my big black paper and my paper plate. Okay, go ahead, lay your paper plate in the middle of your black paper, and then take an oil pastel. It can be any color. I'll use white so that it's easier for you guys to see, but it can be any color. All right, so I'm going to take my oil pastel and trace around my plate. Voila, we've got a circle now that we're going to work with to create our illustration. So we're going to draw and color in our illustration on this paper, then we'll cut it out and we'll have that circular picture to add on at the end. Okay, so trace around your paper plate. If you need to pause it, go ahead, pause, and then come back when you're ready. Okay. All right. So this, you can do anything you want in this space. Now, if you want to follow along with me, I am going to do something and I'll kind of walk you through it, but you can do anything you want. So if you want, pay attention, and if you just want to work on your own, go ahead and do that too. Okay, I started reading Dracula, so I think I'm going to make a vampire. If you want to make a vampire with me, I'll try to walk you through it a little bit, okay? All right, so we're going to make a vampire face. So he will take up most of our circle, and then he'll have kind of a collar at the bottom. So we're going to start up here with his hair. And first we want to make almost like a flame shape. It's almost like half of a flame. Oh, and I don't know if that's going to show up very well. Not showing up at all. Okay, I'll use white to show up. And then we're going to take our flame, oops, down just a little bit. So it's almost like half of a flame that's stopped. Okay. And then we're going to come up here, right about here, right where it starts to curve. And we're going to add a widow's peak. This is going to be his hair. And we'll curve around and then down, kind of like a question mark. Kind of made a question mark. So there's his widow's peak. Here's his sideburn. Let's go off of his sideburn and make a big old pointy ear. I bet vampires have really big ears. So we'll kind of come up to the edge of our circle and come down. Okay. Then inside of the ear, let's do a little bit of a curve. And then right in the middle of the curve, make a number 2. Blend it together. See, that kind of looks like the inside of his ear now. Okay. All right, then come over where we were just leaving off. This is kind of his forehead. Let's give him another ear to match. This one will be further away, so it won't be quite as detailed or as big, but it'll still be kind of pointy. Okay. Might bring his forehead down just a touch there. And then we're going to find his widow peak, come down just a little bit. And we're going to make a little C like this. And then we're going to make almost like a beak. He's going to have a really long pointy nose. Okay, so we arc out really long pointy, bring it in and curl it in. All right. Now we need to put his eyes on the picture. So let's go ahead and we'll add 2 lines for an eyebrow. So off of this little C that we just made, let's make 1 line, another line. We can make our C longer if we need. That will be his eyebrow. And then right underneath his eyebrow, in between his eyebrow and his nose, let's make a little C to make his eye. And then inside of that C, let's make another C for his pupil. We forgot to detail a little bit inside of this ear. Maybe just make a little V for the inside of that ear. Okay, now we've got one eye, let's draw another one. So let's draw a backwards C there. And let's match his eyebrows. He's gonna have 2 lines for eyebrows. They come out like that. And then we'll draw a U attached to those eyebrows. And then another U inside of that bigger U. Okay, now we have 2 eyes. Oh, now we need his fangs. fangs. Okay, so let's come underneath his nose, and we're just gonna draw, this is gonna be the top of his lip. So halfway down his nose, we're just gonna draw a little bit of a curve. Just curves a little bit, and then we'll draw an upside down U at the end. He's kind of smirking. Okay, and then we'll draw a sharp tooth. Okay, and then we'll come over on this side and we'll make another sharp fang since he's a vampire. And then we can take the bottom of his mouth, maybe in the middle of the teeth. We'll start a line to curve up and connect to our top lip. Okay, and then let's connect, let's make the inside of his mouth. So we'll make a curve here, and then maybe a little bump here. That will be his tongue. Okay, you could do a little line down there for his chin or his lip. Okay, I wanted to make a little collar, but I'm running out of room, so I'm just going to finish his face here. Now, I think he probably has a pretty pointy chin. So I'm going to draw one line that curves, and it kind of goes down to the middle of my circle. And then I'm going to come over to where my ear ends at the bottom, and I'm going to connect it there. Okay, so we've got our vampire, and we can go back through and we can color in. I'll just do this kind of quickly. Add some black hair. And let's see if this silver works. Maybe a little bit of silver for his skin. And I'm going to have him have glowing green eyes. You can choose what color of eyes you want, or whatever else you've made. I can't wait to see what other things you make. I hope I can see them when I come next month. Hopefully they'll be on display, or if I'm over there earlier. I'm going to use my black to do a little bit of outline too. And then his lips are going to be red because, you know, he's a vampire. He's got a very red tongue. The nice thing about oil pastels is you can layer things on top of each other. So maybe he has some fangs, but that are white, but he's got just a little bit of blood at the bottom. So gross. Maybe his eyes are red from staying up all night. Maybe he has some gray in his hair too. Once you add color inside of your outlines, you can go back over your outlines so that your image is sharper. And if you are using a few different colors, you can also use your fingers to blend. You know, you can kind of rub those together and blend them together. Okay, but I'm just gonna finish the vampire. Make sure once you have your main subject all colored in, that you fill in any of the background. So I'm just gonna make some stars around my vampire because he's always awake at night. And then I'll take, this is a pretty kind of turquoise to make a spooky sky. Okay, and I'm doing this pretty quickly, but you can take your time to really saturate it with color. That's what's so fun about the pastels, is the harder you press, you get all this vibrant color out. You can mix some colors on top. Okay, so if you still need time to work, go ahead and pause the video and then come back. All right, so now that you're finished with your illustration, done with our oil pastels, so I'll put these to the side. Go ahead, grab your scissors, and you're just gonna follow that circle that you already traced. You can leave the circle that you traced in your picture, so you could cut on the outside of it, or if you want it not to show, just cut on the inside of it. I think I like it for this one. So I'm probably gonna cut on the outside so you can see the white circle. But yours might not work, whatever you drew might not work with that, so you might want to cut on the inside. Okay, so you've got that all cut out. Go ahead, put your scrap to the side. And now we finally get to put it all together. You guys have done a great job. Okay. So let's lay out our pieces first. Let's put our illustration in the middle. We're gonna put our title at the top. This down a little bit. Our illustrated by at the bottom. And then this last piece that has the date and the price, that's gonna go just behind our illustration at the top. But notice how the middle part is overlapping with our illustration. Okay, pretty good layout. Go ahead, grab that glue stick, and we'll finish up here. So I'm gonna start with the top. My title, a nice rectangle of glue, center it as much as you can, maybe leave a little bit of color behind it if you can. All right, now this one, you're going to glue down the date and the price first. So just shift everything down and put a nice line of glue stick of glue on there. Okay, got a little glue, that'll dry. Now we come to our illustration, turn it over, make a couple of circles around. Oops, flip it over. It's gonna go just on the top. Now with this one, just bounce your fingers around the edge of the circle. That way you won't smear your oil pastel. Okay, so bounce them around and push down. And then for your illustrated by, make 2 long strips of glue. Oops. Maybe I can lift this up just a little bit so it doesn't. There we go. My picture's not blocked. All right. So that was our project. Let's go back to our other view. Get my microphone. All right. Okay, friends, hopefully that made sense to you and it worked out okay. I can't wait to see these projects when I come to the school. So next month I will be in your classroom with you. We are going to learn about the American Indian potter named Maria Martinez, and we get to use clay and make our own pottery. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you guys. So thanks for watching. Bye.